Hello. So we're just going to jump right back in here. We are still on day 3. We did all the things with all the people, more neighbors, defense, poking holes in the prosecutions, discrediting their witnesses, basically just because, they're not, again, none of them really saw a full picture. They're trying to put the picture together with all of these separate parts, trying to paint the big picture, but it's not really coming together as well as I think they thought it would. I don't know. I think mainly just because the prosecution or the defense is being able to poke some holes in some things. So, up next is the friend of Trayvon Martin, who was on the phone with him during the incident. I think there's been some controversy around her testimony. I'm not sure what it is. Again, like I said, I didn't follow this much, back when it happened 10, 11 years ago. So I'm just kind of catching up on all of the things now. Just kind of looking back and going through all of the things. And I think I'm going to go through, some reactions and some videos of some things and some news stories of, the immediate media reaction to the incident originally, how it progressed up until the trial, after the trial, and all of those things, and just kind of do a thing and see, how it all plays out. So let's get into it. Let's press the play. Let's make sure we got some closed captionings going on.
Do solemnly swear affirm that your testimony in these proceedings will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Lady, you're going to have to speak up, because I did not hear you.
You may proceed.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Rachel Gentel, Jeantel.
Ms. Gentile, what is your date of birth?
February the 1st, 1994.
And you are how old right now?
19.
Okay. Have you previously gone by the name of Diamond or Dee Dee, nicknames?
Yes.
Okay. And you currently live in Miami?
Yes.
Where were you born?
Miami.
Okay. Where did you grow up?
Miami.
Okay. Is your family originally from where?
Haiti and Dominican.
Okay. Haiti and Dominican Republic?
Yes.
Okay. Was your mother born in Haiti?
Yes.
And you live with your mother?
Yes.
Are you going to school at this time?
Yes.
And what school are you going to?
Miami Northern Senior High.
And what grade will you be in starting in the fall?
12.
While you were growing up in Miami, did you become friends with a person by the name of Trayvon Martin?
Yes.
In fact, did you go to elementary school with him?
Objections leading.
I'll be glad to rephrase it. While you were in elementary school, did you meet
He's been
Trayvon
leading this
Martin
whole
when he was
time.
in school with you?
Yes.
Okay. And later, specifically in February of 2012, last year, did you end up having contact with him again?
Yes.
Okay. Specifically, in February of 2012, did he end up coming by your neighborhood, and did you end up
He came
talking
around
to
my
him?
area.
Okay.
Lady, let him finish the question.
Did you ever actually formally go out on a date with him?
No, we were just friends.
I want to focus on February 26th of 2012, that Sunday. Were you living in Miami, and were you in Miami on that date?
Yes,
Okay. And were you aware that Trayvon Martin was up in Sanford on that day?
yes,
Did you talk
That
to
was a
Trayvon
compound
Martin that day
question,
on the
and she said
telephone?
yes to
Yes.
both.
And during that day, did you talk to him several times on the phone?
yes,
Back in February of 2012, was your phone number 786-419-3726?
yes,
And was Trayvon Martin's number 786-312-9558?
yes,
She don't
Um,
know.
Having interacted with Trayvon Martin prior to talking to him that day, do you know what type of phone did he have? Did he have a cell phone?
yes.
Okay. And did he have a cell phone that had, I don't know what you call those?
Headset,
Headset?
yes,
And do you know how that was controlled?
yes.
How was it controlled?
She knows
Yeah,
exactly
headset.
what he's gonna ask before
With
he
plugs going
asks.
into your ear, and you have a
Yeah,
button?
button to talk to, like a speaker.
Now, that evening, were you all talking on the telephone?
Yes,
And did he describe something to you that occurred?
yes,
Okay. I want to focus, when you were talking to him on the phone, did he describe being at a particular place and the weather conditions?
yes.
Tell us about that if you could.
What happened at the store? Or
Yes, at the store.
he was going to the store for his future stepbrother, I think named Chad,
Okay. Did he say what he was going to go get at the store?
a candy in Arizona.
Okay. Did he tell you the particular store that he was going to, or was that?
No, corner store in Michigan.
And did he describe the weather condition, whether it was sunny, rainy, snowing,
It
or
was
what?
about to rain when he was going. It was about to rain when he was going.
Now, did that conversation with Trayvon Martin continue throughout there, and then also what followed?
Yes,
Okay. And during your conversations with Trayvon Martin, at some points, did your phone and his desk connect?
yes.
Okay. And did either he call you back or you call him back?
He called me back.
Okay. Now, at some point, did Trayvon Martin describe going back to the neighborhood, I'm sorry, to the retreat at Twin Lakes, the complex where he was staying at?
Yes,
Okay. I want to pick up from there. Did he describe when he was at the complex, something happening?
yes.
Tell us if you can what he described happening.
A man was watching him.
When he told you that a man was watching him, did you say anything to him?
No, I didn't think it was a big idea.
I'm sorry.
I did not think it was a big idea. So no.
And
I did not think it was.
I did not think it was a big idea. So I did
Okay.
not.
what happens is
What?
sometimes you've got two microphones, so it might be a little confusing. You just, either move or, that's all right. Just get closer. You're doing fine, but you have to get close to the microphone so everybody can hear you. Especially this lady right here in front. She's taking everything down, so she needs to be able to hear you. And did he then say something was happening?
Yeah, he
Okay,
said the man kept watching him.
okay. And tell us what happened then.
As he was telling me the man, he kept proclaiming that man was just watching him, and I just said how the man looked like.
Okay, hold on.
I would object to the narrative form of the testimony.
I'll be glad to rephrase.
Please, could you please speak up so everybody can hear?
Speak
Go ahead
up and
wait for the
slow the
commission to ask
fuck
the
down,
question.
man.
You've got a very soft voice, but we make sure everybody can hear you, both sides and everybody, okay?
Yeah,
All right. Mr. Martin, Trayvon Martin complained.
yeah,
What was he complaining about?
that a man just kept watching him.
Yeah, I object to the narrative form of the testimony as opposed to the questions of what was said and what the response was.
Okay, if your objection is narrative, it is overruled. You may ask your next question.
After he said that, did you say anything back to him, or did he say anything back to you?
Yes, I asked him how the man looked like. He
And
just told me the man looked creepy and
he said the man looked creepy.
creepy white.
Okay,
Excuse my language, cracker.
okay. And what did you say? Okay, they're having trouble hearing you, so take your time.
Creepy ass cracker.
Okay. Creepy ass cracker.
Was just looking at him, and I said, "Oh,
And I know you grew up in a Haitian family, so make sure that everybody can hear you. Try to speak as clear and, okay.
Okay, can you repeat what your answer was, please?
creepy ass." What's the question?
The question was, they want you to repeat your answer. When you said what you asked, what,
I
He
asked
said
him how the
creepy
man
ass
looked like.
cracker.
He looked like a creepy ass cracker.
okay. Let me make sure we got that. Creepy
Ass cracker.
cracker.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you recall him saying?
Yes.
Okay. And is that to mean like a white individual?
Yes, Caucasian.
What did you say to him, or what did he say to you after that?
So he told me the man was looking at him. So I had to think it might have been a rapist. So you don't know the area, it might have been a rapist.
Okay,
So he told me the man was looking at him, so I have to think it might be a rapist?
Yes,
okay. Were you sick?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the answer.
Okay, she's going to repeat it. Could you please repeat your answer?
Jesus Christ.
Go ahead.
So he told me the man was looking at him, so I had to think it might be a rapist. You said something after that, but I didn't hear what you said.
Can you repeat? I'm sorry, Madam Court Reporter, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Could you repeat your answer? You said you told him the man might be a rapist?
yes,
Okay. And what else did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
no, stop playing him like that.
I'm sorry.
Stop hanging.
With him like that,
Mr. Trayvon Martin told you to stop playing with him like that, like
Yeah.
joking like that?
yeah.
Okay. And then what happened next?
I told him, okay, then why he keep looking at you? So,
Okay. Did Mr. Martin say the guy kept looking at him?
yeah, and then he just told me he just wanted to try to lose him. But
Okay.
I started walking back home, because I already calmed him a little bit down.
Okay. So Mr. Martin told you he was going to try to lose the man?
Yeah, I started walking home.
Okay. And did you say anything to him?
We were just talking, and then he just told me the man following him now.
Okay.
I'm following him.
Yeah,
The man kept following him?
yes,
Okay. Did he?
Objection. Mr. De La Grande misstated the witness's testimony in his question. Could we repeat?
I'm glad.
Just restate your question, and if you could give your answer slowly for us and loud.
You mentioned the Trayvon Martin told you this man.
This is fucking irritating. He's trying to get her to say something. She's not saying it. She's saying what she. Speak up. Enunciate your fucking words, man. And then he's parroting back what he thinks she's saying. And then, but they can't fucking hear what she's saying. And then it's just fucking ridiculous.
Was looking at him,
yes.
all right? You told him that,
This is leading now.
I'm trying to get to the point.
You're objecting that you can't understand what she's saying. We're trying to get the answer in. So if you could please give us.
Are you fucking serious? You're objecting to leading. We're trying to get the answer in. Are you serious? So you're gonna let him lead to try to get this specific answer in. Is that correct? Is that a correct way to go about it? Maybe just ask the fucking question again. Maybe just ask the fucking question again and have her answer it, but make her open her goddamn mouth and say the right words.
Us your answer. Ask your question. Give us your answer as slowly and clearly and loudly as you can. Have a seat.
It's really hard for me to see the witness. If I'm seated, we have an obstruction issue in the court.
Okay, this is the first witness that you're telling me you're having an issue with seeing. If you need to move your seat to another place at the table, you may feel.
He needs to be able to see her mouth. He needs to be able to see her to hear. I understand. Judge, shut the fuck up.
Free to do so.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Dale, ask your question, please.
You mentioned that Trayvon Martin said something to you, and you said something back to him. Now follow up after you said about the
He
man.
started walking home.
Yes.
He started walking home. He told me,
Let me stop you. He said he started walking home.
yeah, he's going to leave the area where the melon area at.
So you-
He's going to leave the melon area where he was at. Yeah, where you get your melon.
All right. And I'm gonna make sure that
Mailing
everybody
area.
understands what you're saying.
Mailing
You
area.
say, he said he's gonna leave the mailing area where he's at?
Yes,
Okay, what did you take that to mean?
as he's leaving the area, he said he's gonna start walking home.
Okay,
So-
then what happened?
So, and then we started talking about something else, about the All-Star game. Telling me the All-Star game, telling me to go check for him
All right.
if it's on.
Okay. So Mr. Martin told you he was leaving the mailing area where he was at,
And then,
and he started talking about something else.
yeah,
What did you and Mr. Martin talk about?
the All-Star game.
The All-Star game meaning what? The basketball All-Star
The
game?
All-Star game that was happening that day.
Okay, then what happened?
And then he said the nigga still following me now. that nigga is still following me now.
Are you still following him?
Yes.
Okay, did he use a word to describe that?
Let's go slowly.
Bitch, you're getting mad because people can't understand you. What the hell is happening? How are you going to get mad because people can't understand you? And then you're going to get frustrated because people can't understand you.
Now the nigga still following me.
Pardon my language, but did he say the word, pardon my language, did he use the word nigger to describe the man now?
Yes.
Okay.
That's slang.
That's slang?
Yeah.
Okay. And he said, use the N-word to describe the man following him still.
Yeah, not
Okay.
following him.
Now following him. Okay. And what I want you to do, Rachel Gentile, is
Is now, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Okay, can we, one more time, please give that answer again.
He said, he told me now the man is start following him. I follow him.
Okay, you can't ask your questions. If you can't understand, just raise your hand.
I apologize, but we have a stretch from you that.
This is why it's going to take so long for her to fucking talk. Oh, God.
I'm going to waive
I
that,
can't.
Mr. West, to reposition himself, so, with the court's permission.
I think the witness changed her answer from the first time. Could we have it right back rather than having the answer just repeated differently?
No, she can answer the questions, ask the question again.
No.
Ms. Gentile, you mentioned,
Fuck off.
what happened next? Tell me what happened next.
Okay.
Yes, we need the last question. After you started talking about the All-Star game, you started to say what Mr. Martin said to you on the phone. Could you please repeat it slowly and loudly?
Now the nigga is following me.
Thank you.
After Mr. Martin said the N-word and said he's following me, what happened then?
And then he just told me, and then I just told him to run. And like he said,
You told him to run,
yeah.
and what, if anything, did Mr. Martin say?
He said, no, he almost right there. So he almost right by his daddy fiance house.
So, Mr. Martin, you told him to run, and he said, no, he's almost by his daddy's.
I object. It's a misstatement of the.
Okay, please sit down. Could you please give your answer again? You have to say it slowly and loudly. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's not going to do it.
Here's what you need to do, is move that microphone, if you could, a little bit slowly. The one in the middle, the small one, you got two of them. I don't know if that one's working.
That's not the one. Bobby, could you lift the other one up just a little bit? I think we've been having problems with that microphone all along. I think it has to be tilted up. Could you speak into there and let's see if we can hear you?
Okay, thank you.
It's not the
Tell us what
microphone.
it
Yeah.
said. Go ahead.
And then he starts he's telling me, he's almost there. So as he's walking, he just complained he's the man still following him. And then he told me he's gonna run from the back.
Okay, let me stop a second.
You going to run from the back?
Yeah, run from the back. And I said, oh. And then a second later, he said he about to run from the back. And then I started hearing wind, and then the phone just shut off. And I had called
Stop
back.
a second to make sure everybody's got it, because there's some people writing down notes. Take your time.
And then the phone just shut off. And then I had called back. He answered.
Okay, the phone,
And then the phone just shut off, and then I had called back and he answered.
Yes.
okay, let me interrupt you a second. When you say the phone cut off, meaning your connection with Mr. Martin?
Cut off because he started running from the back area.
And, did you call him back or did he call you back?
I called him back.
And when you called him back, were you able to, again, start talking to him on the phone?
Yeah.
Then Mr. Martin, then when you called him back, did you say something to Mr. Martin or did he say something to you? And take your time when you're answering.
He said I asked him where he at. And he told me he at the back of his daddy fiance house. Like in the area where his daddy fiance buy his daddy fiance house. Like I said, oh, you better keep running. He said, nah, he lost him.
Okay, just stop a second. This lady's got to take everything down, so you make sure you're, okay. So after he said he lost him, what happened then?
And he said he bought it in the area that his daddy house is, his daddy fiance house is. And I told him keep running. And he said, nah, he'll just walk faster. I was like, oh, and I ain't complaining, still breathing hard, so I understand why. So,
What happened after that?
and then a second later, I turned around and said, oh shit. A couple seconds later, Trayvon come and say, oh shit.
Okay, let me interrupt a second. When you say the words, oh, shit, pardon my language, who said that?
Trayvon,
He said it to you?
yes.
Okay. And after he used, pardon my language, he said, oh, shit, what happened then?
The nigga behind me.
I'm sorry.
The nigga behind me.
Okay, he used the N-word again and said, the nigger is behind me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not hard
Did you say
R.
anything to him at that time?
I told him you better run. And he had told me he almost bought his daddy fiance house. So I said, and then I just closed my room door that connects to my door in the bathroom.
Okay, let me make sure the jury understands that. You're not talking to Mr. Martin at that time. You're actually in a room and you did what in your house?
I was in my bathroom. I was trying to fix my hair for school the next day
Okay, so you were talking, how were you able to talk and fix your hair at the same time?
on Bluetooth.
You were on Bluetooth?
Bluetooth,
So while you were talking to him, you had a Bluetooth connection,
yes.
and did you tell him, hold on, I'm gonna go fix my hair, or you just did it? You're just telling the jury what you did?
I just did it
Okay.
because the phone was just in my pocket. So
What happened then after you went to another room, closed the door, and fixing your hair?
I just closed the door.
Oh, I'm sorry, you closed the door.
Yeah,
Are you still talking to him at this point?
yeah.
Okay, tell us what happened then.
And then I say Trayvon, and then he said, "Why are you following me for?" And then I heard a hard breath man come and say, "What you doing around here?"
Okay,
Wait up. And then I said, Trayvon, and then he said, why are you following me for? And then I heard a hard
Breathing man say, "What you doing around here?
breathing man saying,
What you doing around here?"
okay, let me interrupt you. Is what you just told us a conversation that you're having with Trayvon, or Trayvon's having with somebody else?
What happened to someone else?
Okay, that's what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what happened?
Then I started saying Trayvon's going on. Then I heard a bump. I had to feel it in the bump because the headset. Trayvon had a headset.
You heard a bump,
Yeah, a bump.
and what did you assume that was?
The headset.
What happened then?
Then I started hearing grass sound and wet grass sound.
What do you mean you heard grass sound?
Like grass, wet grass.
Okay, then what happened?
And then I was calling Trayvon, and then I started hearing a little bit of Trayvon saying, get off. It's crap.
Okay, let me stop you a second. You heard a grass sound, and then you said something. What did you say?
I was trying to say Trayvon's going on.
And what did you hear?
I said I kind of heard Trayvon saying, get off.
Then what did you hear?
And then the second way the phone hung up, the home shut off.
Okay, when the phone shut off, what happened then?
And I had to call him back.
You called Trayvon
Yeah,
Martin back?
yes.
Were you able to talk to him again?
No.
Did Trayvon Martin, ever call you back?
No.
Did you ever talk to Trayvon Martin again?
No.
At some point, you found out that Trayvon Martin had been killed, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you recall in relation to that Sunday when you had a phone call with him, when it was approximately that you found out that something had happened to Trayvon Martin?
It was a rumor. It was a rumor that Monday when I went to school, like after that Sunday he passed. Monday it was a rumor going around his school. I have friends that go around his school, that go to his school, saying that he passed away. I didn't believe it.
Okay, let me interrupt you a second. At school, people were saying something happened to him,
Yeah, that he died.
and you did not believe it?
Mm-mm.
When did you officially find out that he was dead?
That Tuesday afternoon.
And do you recall how you found out that he died?
Because my friend had sent me
Okay.
A text of an article.
Okay, so you found out in the media or people told you?
Yeah, my friend had sent me a text of an article saying Trayvon's name, that he died. And I had asked her what time that he died. And I had to look at my phone. My phone said 7:16, but the phone hung up.
So you found out that Trayvon Martin was dead, and then you were trying to figure out whether, in relation to the last time you spoke to him?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how he died. It was just a fight. How he died, just a fight. That last time I had talked to him, a fight broke out.
Okay. You stated that a fight broke out. Tell us what you mean by that. Tell the jury what you mean by that.
It was just a fight broke out. It was not, I didn't take it serious, just a fight broke out. And I had thought he was already by his daddy house, that somebody would come help him. Because by the middle area, you could hear sounds and stuff. And I thought the daddy was there, so
You didn't realize that the last time you spoke to him was the day he died?
Yeah,
Okay.
Excuse me.
At some point, did Trayvon Martin's dad call you up and tell you, in terms of figuring out that you were the last person to have spoken to him on the phone?
yes,
Okay. Now, ma'am, did you find out that Trayvon Martin had a wake and a funeral too?
yes,
Okay. And you did not go to that, correct? Okay. When Trayvon Martin's dad called you up, did you tell him that you were the last person to have talked to him? Are you all right? You need to take a break?
no,
Okay. You want some water or something, or?
no,
Okay. At some point, you found out that people wanted to talk to you about this case, about what you had heard?
when his father called,
Yes.
really much, I did not know what, like, if I was any way in this case, like, my friend did go to the wake, and
Okay.
they said they had gotten a man, so I said, okay. She went to the wake,
Yeah, a friend of yours went to the wake?
yeah, like, some of my friends went to the wake, and they had said his body was down, that his body, he did.
Okay. Why didn't you go to the wake or to the funeral?
I didn't want to see the body.
I'm sorry, what?
I didn't want to see the body.
You didn't want to see the body?
No.
You ended up speaking to Trayvon Martin's mother and to parents, right?
Yes.
Okay. And did you end up lying about not going, why you didn't go to the wake, the funeral?
Yes.
And why did you lie about not going to the funeral or to the wake?
I felt guilty.
Felt guilty about what?
I didn't find out that was the last person. That was the last person who talked. So they saw it.
And you,
That was the last person that talked to their son. And I ain't going to wait. No respect.
Ms. Chintel, since that time, have you heard the recording, telephone recording where there's cries for help and then a shot? Have you heard that on TV and stuff?
Yes.
Okay. The cries for help, are you able to say whose voice that is or voices that is?
Trayvon. Sound like Trayvon's.
Let me have a minute on it. I don't have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl.
We're just going to have time for a short break for everyone.
You okay if we take a short break?
Yeah.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a 15-minute recess. If you'll please put your notepads face down on the chairs and follow Deputy Jarvis out of the courtroom.
So she didn't go to the funeral because she felt guilty because she was the last one to talk to him. I mean, okay. Yes and no. I don't know. I mean, I guess I could have slowed that one down. Let me just do that now. Maybe it would have been easier to understand her just a tad. If it's not, I'm gonna speed it back up Because if I can't understand her in normal speed, then there's no point. I don't know. I mean, I could understand. I mean, I understand not wanting to go. I get that. And then being the last one to talk to somebody, that's actually pretty devastating, I would say. So, I mean, I get that. I'd like to know if you were the last voice somebody heard. This is wild. Yes, indeed. All right.
Please be seated. Mr. West, when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Mr. Patel.
Good afternoon, Mr. Don.
She's not gonna like talking to him.
You met Trayvon Martin when you both were in kindergarten,
Second grade.
second grade, but you weren't friends on up to the present time. You lost contact with him completely until just February of 2006.
In high school, when we got to high school.
And then in February of 2012, you became reconnected, if you will.
February the 1st.
The actual first day of February?
Yes, the day is my birthday. I remember.
And did you become reacquainted because Trayvon Martin would come into the neighborhood where you live
Yes.
to meet up
We're
with some of
friends.
his friends?
We're friends, yes.
Calm down.
And
We're friends.
that Trayvon Martin would come
Yes.
to your neighborhood with his friends?
No, friends. His friends live in my neighborhood.
Okay.
Yes,
So he
so
would
he
come
would
into
come to
your
your
neighborhood.
neighborhood.
To,
Hang out, ride bikes, play games.
mhm. And is that how he met up with you again?
Yes,
And then right about February 1st on your birthday, is that when you and he began to talk and text frequently?
laugh around, yes. Laugh around, yes. Laugh around, hang around, yes.
Laugh
Mhm.
around.
So you would then talk with him on the phone quite a bit and text with him beginning about February 1st.
Yes,
But you weren't in any way his girlfriend,
no,
and you hadn't ever actually gone on a date.
no.
From February 1st until
Irrelevant.
February 26th, when he died, would you have seen him only 2 or 3 times in person?
3 times, no. I saw him a lot, before he went out of town.
When did he go out of town?
The week before he died,
So between February 1st and February 19th or 20th, you saw him a few times,
yes,
but not in a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of
no,
way. And then when he went out of town, when he came up to Sanford, did you continue to talk with him on the phone and text him?
yes,
And did you do that on through Sunday, February 26th that we've been talking about here today?
yes,
On February 26th, did you text with him throughout the morning and early afternoon?
yes.
And then also talked with him at some length during the day?
I didn't hear what you said.
And then you talked with him
What'd you
a
say?
lot during the day itself?
Yes, the whole day, text and talk.
Text and talk.
So basically all day you and he were on the phone?
Asked and answered. Move on.
Yes. Or somebody put three-way. He had three-way. He put some of his friends, I put some of my friends on the phone around that time when we was on the phone.
So sometimes there would be more
Multiple
than
people.
just you on the phone with him?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me offer defendants 2A into evidence by agreement or without objection.
Okay, it's
Now
marked
been
as
marked.
2A.
That's what it says.
Where would we get a 2A?
A through C, so you start in 3.
Oh, I didn't know that you, this isn't state's exhibit. It's,
The new version, the American that I'll
okay, nobody told me they've marked something up to, and if it's stipulated into evidence, it would come in as 16. Is-
especially the offense wise.
I have no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, what you have pre-marked as exhibit AA will come into evidence as defense exhibit 16.
Well, Judge, I misplaced the extra copy just for reference. That would be fine.
Well,
So that the
that
witness
sucks.
could take a look at this.
You may approach her.
Just for the witness's frame of reference. It's been, Ms. Judge, this is a list of the times, the beginning time and the end time of the calls between you and Trayvon Martin on February 26th. Do you see what that looks like and see what it says?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I may ask you to use that to refresh your recollection and be able to
It
pinpoint.
should be more.
What?
This call record begins at 5:09:36.
No,
Do you see that?
I see it, but it ain't begin at 5:09. It began around 12 something.
Right. Right. So what you're saying is that there were more calls during the day between you and Trayvon Martin than what are shown here on this list.
Yes.
Well, the list only starts at 5:09:36 p.m. Do you see that?
Yes.
And then the end time of the call is marked by the other column. There's a start time and then an end time.
Yes.
So for example, the first call starts at 5:09:36 and then ends at 6:30:01. You see that?
Yes.
The next call starts at 6:30:40 and then ended at 6:43:15. You see that?
Yes.
The next one starts at 6:41:05 and ends at 6:44:32.
Yes.
Hey,
And the next one starts at 6:45:01 and ends at 6:49:17.
Yes.
The next one starts at 6:49:46 and ends at 6:53:31.
Yes.
The next one starts at
you don't have to have an attitude.
6:53:47 and ends at 6:53:55.
Yes.
The next one starts at 6:54:00 and ends at 6:54:33.
Yes.
The next one starts at 6:54:16 and ends at 7:11:47.
Yes.
And then the next and final call on the list starts at 7:12:06 and ends at 7:15:43.
Yes.
And these are represented to be the various phone calls, not necessarily that you made. They could be that calls that Mr. Martin made to you,
Yes.
but they were calls that you and Mr. Martin were on together that evening.
Yes.
Do you remember about what time Trayvon Martin told you he was leaving the house to go to the store?
Just got a whole load.
Something, 6, around 6.
Were you talking with him while he was on his way to the store?
Brother,
Yes.
third, between 6
And did you
6:30.
talk with him while he was at the store?
Yes.
And then did you continue to talk with him after he left the store?
Yes.
Do you know which of these phone calls might have been the time when he was at the store?
Nope.
Nope.
There is a picture in evidence that shows Mr. Martin at the 7-Eleven at 6:23 in the afternoon, using that as a frame of reference. Do you remember talking to Mr. Martin while he was inside the store?
Yes.
And then there's also in evidence a telephone call that was made in connection with Mr. Martin being in the neighborhood at 7:09. You don't see that one on here, but I'm pointing that out to you for that time frame. From 6:23:49 until 7:09:11, I think. Okay, that time period is what I'd like to concentrate on for the moment. Are you with me?
No, you lost me.
No, you lost me.
Trayvon Martin was in the 7-Eleven getting the snacks that you talked about at
Yes.
6:23:49, okay? Because his picture was taken by the camera at the store that's marked on that date and time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then the telephone call to the police that Mr. Zimmerman made is at 7:09:34. So that's the time period I'd like to concentrate on for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that Mr. Martin left the store at 6:23:49 or thereabouts, and Mr. Zimmerman saw him in the retreat at Twin Lakes Complex at 7:09:34, are you able to tell me about what you and Mr. Martin talked about during that time period and where, if anywhere, he went other than to the complex where his father's fiance was staying?
That night,
Yes.
the rain had got him. The rain. He got caught by the rain. He was at the mailing place, the mailing area.
So did he
The
tell you
mailing
then
area,
as
the mailing
he
area.
left the store that it started to rain
Yes.
and that he ran to the, or walked quickly to the mail area?
Shortcut.
Pardon me?
A shortcut to the mailing area.
A shortcut from where to where? Do you have any idea?
No.
But he told you that he was going to run over to the mail area?
Yes.
Do you know if that was the mail area that was in the complex where he was staying, or is that perhaps in another complex in between the store and where he was staying?
The complex that he was staying in. Because I
Also,
had asked him where he was at. He said he's in a place where his father is staying at.
it's also been indicated that it's about a mile, give or take a little, from the store to the complex where he was staying.
No, I don't know where. I don't know. I never been there.
You don't have any idea then what the distance might be?
No. I never been there.
So what I'm trying to
No,
understand from you at this
Ma'am.
point is, do you have any idea where Trayvon Martin went between leaving the store at about 6:23 in the late afternoon before the phone call was made at 7:09:34?
Wait, what? Repeat what you're saying. I'm confused.
Well,
Repeat.
there's about 35 or 40 minutes there between when he left the store and when he was seen in the complex. So I'm trying to understand from you, do you have any idea where he went or what he was doing at that point?
He was at the Melon place talking, telling me to check the television for the All-Star game. Did it start? Yes.
But he had to go about a mile to get from the store to what you believe is the mail place. Was there any conversation about where he was going or why it would take him so long to get there?
We were talking around.
In any event, what you believe is that after he left the store, he went right over to the mail place in the
Yeah, the rain had
complex?
caught him.
I'm sorry.
The rain had caught him from the rain. He got caught by the rain.
they got caught by the
And he
rain.
did a shortcut to the Melon area.
So are you saying then that what you believe anyway, that he was in the vicinity of the mail
He
area?
was right by the place where the house is at, I think.
I don't follow you, sorry. I'm trying to get just a sense of perspective. As far as you can tell from what you remember saying was that when Trayvon Martin said to you that he was in the mail area, that you believed that
He was
to be in the
standing under,
complex?
he was standing under the Mel area.
And you don't have any information as to where he went or why it took him so long to get there?
No,
You were talking to him, weren't you? Why don't you know? Was he hanging out somewhere because he got caught in the rain?
Let's talk for a minute about how you came to be involved in the case.
Hmm.
Do I understand correctly that the night of the event, you believed it was just a fight and that you did not think it was necessarily important to call anybody and tell them that you were on the phone with Trayvon Martin when whatever happened, happened?
I don't understand what you're talking about. What part you at? The time after I got out the phone with Trayvon,
At that point,
Girl.
I believe you said that when the phone disconnected
I had called back,
and you got no answer,
no answer.
and you believed that it was just a fight.
And then I told you, I had believed that it was just a fight, and he already
You
told
didn't
me
tell
he was
him
by
that.
his father's house, so I thought his father was going to help him, and I did hear like sounds from the background and people could help him. So I never thought it was that deadly serious. So I had called back a number before.
So your impression that night was that whatever happened, it was a fight, correct?
Yeah, that broke out.
And you don't know exactly how it broke out,
Well, no.
correct?
No.
What you do know, though, is there was a point in time when Trayvon Martin was saying to you he had lost the guy.
Yes.
And that after that, there was a time when he said he sees him again.
Yes.
And at that point, you told him to run, and he said no.
Because he said no because he was right by his father's house.
Mhm.
And my mind is like a couple houses away.
So what he did instead, though,
Walk faster.
right, but what he did instead was that he turned to George Zimmerman and said, "Why are you following me?"
No.
That's the first thing you heard, wasn't it?
I had closed the door. I had a Bluetooth on. I ain't hear nothing. I had a Bluetooth on.
You said it was in your
And he would have
pocket.
told me that and he was going to turn around. He did not tell me he was gonna turn around. None of that. Or he was just in the phone call with me.
Girl,
He
you
said, "I'll
said the
call you back."
Bluetooth was in your
He
ear
was going
and
to
you
do
had
it.
the phone in your
After he
pocket.
told you that he saw the man again,
He had saw the man again.
the next
He-
thing that you heard him say was, "Why are you following me?"
Objection, Your Honor. Ask the answer.
Overruled.
Next thing I heard, I had closed the door. And I had
You
to say,
closed the door, but
Trayvon,
that's not gonna not make you hear
on the
it.
phone. Yes, you can.
So now you heard it.
You can go.
You could go,
You can go.
girl.
I'm sorry, it takes me a little bit of time sometimes to come up with the next question.
You can go.
Okay, so at that point then is when you heard what you believe Trayvon Martin to have said, "Why are you following me?"
Yes.
God. Poor dad.
At that point, George Zimmerman said, "What are you talking about?"
What you doing around here? What are you doing around here?
When you talked with Mr. Crump, do you remember talking with Mr. Crump on the phone?
Yeah. No, not really.
You don't really remember that?
No, because that day I was not really wanting to talk to him that much because I don't know him. I did not know him around that time.
Mhm.
And I was so shaken up and with everything. That day I really just rushed on everything. The interview, everything was going on. The only thing I thought was about to go on that day was just the letter. The letter.
Maybe what we should do then is sort of fill in some of the gaps. And if you don't follow me, just let me know. After the event on February 26th,
Yes.
then a day or two later, you realized that Trayvon Martin had died,
Yes.
and that you realized that you were the last person to have talked with him.
Yes.
And you didn't report that to anyone.
What? They said they had got the person who shot Trayvon, and I never thought I was a witness of this situation.
We'll take that in smaller pieces if we could. So you realized then that you were the last person to have spoken with Trayvon Martin,
Yes.
but you did not report it to law enforcement.
No.
Did
I
not.
thought they were supposed to call you. Call the person, like track the number down, see who was the last person if somebody got shot.
Oh, you said you thought they were supposed to call you?
Yeah,
Oh.
they never did. So I thought I was a witness. And
And
they
that
had
was
got the person. They already had the person who shot Trayvon. And I thought that the day it was that people was there, there was a witness.
You had learned then, I take it, that Trayvon Martin died and that the person that had shot him had been identified,
Yes, and was arrested.
was arrested.
Yes.
Okay, so you thought case closed.
Okay, yeah.
So you didn't contact anyone to say that you were the last person to have talked with him.
Friends, they knew.
Right, not law enforcement
No,
or parents or anything like that.
no,
So you thought then that somebody at some point would figure that out with the cell phones and then contact you?
yes. That's not what officers do. Do you watch First 48?
I didn't hear you.
Do you watch First 48? They call the first number.
Do you watch the first 48? This girl.
What, I'm sorry, the first 48?
A show. First 48.
Oh my
When a
God.
victim
She thinks
died,
this
they
is a
called
joke.
the number that the victim called before. And they had,
Why are
They
they
called my
calling
number,
these
so-
people?
and they had already got the person, so case closed, I thought.
So some time passed, I take
Not-
it, and you
not
just
doing a good
assumed the
job.
case was over with, and
Yeah, they already had the person who shot him.
then that changed, I take it. You realized that in fact George Zimmerman had not been arrested.
Well, that Sunday. after the father had called me. That's the second time.
You realize sometime
Now, I don't mean to be
between
funny, but I can't tell
February
if the dad is
26th
like
and the time that
crying
Tracy Martin contacted you that George Zimmerman
or
had in
laughing
fact
at
not
how
been
dumb
arrested.
she is.
26.
Right.
Like I
I thought he
can't
was
honestly
arrested.
tell.
On February 26th, Trayvon Martin died.
February 26th, this was all gave from my friends. February 26th, they said Trayvon got shot, and the person who shot Trayvon was arrested.
When did you learn that?
My friend told me, like, when I learned that was like the day, that was a Tuesday.
The 2 days afterwards.
Yeah, when I really found out that he was dead.
And then nobody else had called you about the case, so you didn't take it upon yourself to talk with anybody
You didn't
about
call
anybody
him.
in law enforcement or
You've been
anybody
talking to him
connected
every
with it.
day.
No, I never
Since
thought
the
I was a
first.
witness.
And then some time passed, about March 18th, is that correct?
17th,
March 17th.
Saturday,
Pardon me?
Saturday, March, I think it was a Saturday.
It was a Saturday in March, about the middle of March,
Yes,
around the 17th or 18th probably.
17th. That
You
was
don't even know
Saturday.
what the question is.
Could we check that out? You believe that the 17th was a Saturday? It could have been, I don't know. But that was around that same weekend as when you got the call.
The first phone call from his father asking me, he had asked me, he see I'm the last
He
person who had talked to Trayvon. He
So
had,
did he tell you that he had found the telephone
no,
record?
no.
that-
He just, well, yes, he had seen me the last person who had talked to Trayvon.
So Mr. Martin contacted you and said he believed that you may have been the last person to talk with his son Trayvon?
He saw me the last, he saw his son's, I don't know, phone record. That was the last person that talked to Trayvon.
What you took from that was that Mr. Martin had somehow identified your number
Yeah,
as the last number and that he
Yeah.
called you about it.
had talked to Trayvon.
Correct. That the numbers matched up, the last one on the list.
Yeah,
At that point, did you know anything more about the case?
nope,
You didn't know that by then George Zimmerman had not been arrested?
nope. I don't watch the news.
Nobody at school,
He is
nobody said
laughing,
your friend Trayvon Martin was killed.
which I'm not
and,
mad at him for.
The person that
No.
shot him hasn't been arrested.
No,
You had no idea.
no.
In any event, when
Mom has not moved
How
a
about,
muscle in her
at
face
the
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 whole
wake that
time.
you talked about, I know you didn't go, but that was early March, correct? March 2nd or 3rd, around there.
She don't know.
Do you know?
March 2nd.
You had some friends that went.
Yeah,
Had anybody told you that had gone to the wake that they knew George Zimmerman had not yet been arrested?
they didn't know either. They would have told me. They did not know either. They would have told me. Trust me, they was texting me like crazy.
Mhm.
What was going on at the awakening? They would have told me, but they didn't tell me that. They didn't even know
Jesus
either.
fuck.
After I brought it up, like that Sunday that I had got a call from his father.
So in other words, there wasn't any talk at school, there wasn't any talk at the
Everybody was
wake,
trying to forget about it.
nothing in the news that you heard.
I don't watch the news. The only time I
Clearly.
watch the news is for weather.
So by March 17th or 18th, you still didn't know that George Zimmerman had not been arrested.
Nope.
You talked with Tracy Martin, and he said, would you talk with his lawyer?
That Sunday, I had received a call from a 954 number.
Let's back up first, though, to the conversation with Tracy Martin.
That is that day. That's the day that he told me, well, not me, but would you talk to my attorney?
So in the call where he said he thinks you were the last person to talk with Trayvon Martin, he wanted you to talk to
Can you
his
speak to
attorney.
my attorney?
And he did not ask you in that telephone call to contact law enforcement,
No.
but he wanted you to talk with his attorney.
Yes.
Did you know that he had an attorney at that point?
No.
Had you seen any press conferences or any news whatsoever
I had
where
told
his
you I don't
attorney
watch
spoke?
news. I do not watch news.
So,
Ma'am. Okay. A year after Gentile became a central figure in the trial of George Zimmerman, who had killed her 17-year-old friend, there remains within her a flash of the fire she showed on the witness stand, that sass and bravado, defiant body language layered over deep hurt, heavy sighs, and folded arms. Why he need to lie about that, sir? She challenged a defense lawyer at one point during her testimony. You listening? She said at another. The nationally televised trial projected her full-figured image, her words, her urban African-American dialect into national consciousness. Gentile, the last person to speak to Martin before he was killed, unwittingly became a proxy for pitched culture debate, a stand-in for projections about race, class, and especially all the things Americans, black and white, don't want, and can't tolerate seeing in young black women. I had to laugh it off, Gentile 20 later says, of the ubiquitous television, social media, and water cooler commentary last August that derided her weight, her manner of speaking, and her style of dress. No, be honest, the middle-aged woman sitting next to Gentile interrupts sternly. It's a Friday afternoon, and they are sitting in an Italian restaurant celebrating Gentile's high school graduation and reflecting on this past year of the young woman's life. The woman is Rose Reeder, who has become part of Gentile's village, an extended network of mentors, tutors, and advisors, black professionals all. Gentile tries again. I was mad because they judged me, she concedes. You don't know me. This is what her life has been like for the past year. Directed, interrupted, lectured, and groomed. Put another way, they have been all up in her business. Members of that extended network have come together to celebrate Gentile's graduation from the Academy for Community Education, an alternative high school here. Every student had a story, and as she crossed the stage, Gentile got no more applause than the other 31. Still, it was also a much bigger moment. The village commended Gentile and each other for their accomplishments and hard work. This despite the fact that their expectations and Gentile's had often differed wildly and still do. That's crazy.
Mr. Martin asked you if you'll talk with his attorney, correct?
Yes.
And then the next thing that happened was you got a call from a 954 number?
Yes,
And who was that?
his father.
She was
I'm sorry, I thought you were
humiliated.
talking with Trayvon Martin's father, and he wanted you to talk with the attorney.
Yes,
What happened next?
This is from the New York Daily News, July 14, 2014. She did it for Trayvon. 1 year after being outed as illiterate in the George Zimmerman murder trial, Trayvon Martin's friend, Rachel Gentile, is a changed woman after. Oh, I don't want to read that again. Well, I guess she's illiterate. I mean, that doesn't matter. I don't care if she's illiterate. I mean, I don't care if she's illiterate.
that was
That
just
makes
it.
no
And
difference.
Did you agree?
well, yes,
And at that point, you agreed because you thought this was a racial thing of some sort?
what? The situation?
Yeah.
Not really. I'm
Didn't
really,
you say
I was
that?
really confused.
Didn't you say that in your statement, that the reason you got involved was because you thought it was a racial thing?
What interview?
We'll come back to
Statement.
that, but let's continue with the sequence. So after you had the conversation with Mr. Martin, he wanted you to talk with his attorney,
Yes,
and then did you make arrangements to do that?
yes. Well, no.
Who made arrangements?
The next, nobody. We just hung up the phone. That's it.
And then did you wait for someone to call you?
Yes.
And who called you at that point?
Not that day. The next day, March the 19th. That was a Monday.
Monster
That Monday,
$19.
I went to school. I got a phone call. I did not answer.
Bobby might
They left a
answer.
voice message, and then they left me a long text.
When you say they, who are you speaking of?
His mother.
And you
His
know
mother.
Trayvon's mother to be Sabrina Fulton.
Yes.
And Sabrina Fulton sent you a text wanting you
How's
to
she
talk
gonna be
with the
illiterate
attorney.
if she can
Yes.
text? That doesn't make any
And-
sense.
You agreed to do that later that day.
Yes. I wanted to talk to my mother for she can agree for me to talk to her and her attorney.
Your mother was out of the country though.
Yes.
So, did
She
you-
ain't know my mother was out of the country. She don't know my mom.
no, I was just confirming that you knew your mother was out of the country
Yes.
and you wanted to talk with your mother?
She wanted to talk to my mother. She knew my age.
You lied to her and said you were 16?
Yes.
Did you get that down? You talked to my mother?
She wanted to speak to my mother before she talked to me.
You knew my age?
She didn't know my age.
Thank you.
Ms. Fulton wanted to talk with your mother, correct?
Before she talked to me,
And is that because you lied about your age?
she didn't know my age. She thought I was a minor, just like Trayvon.
But you weren't actually, you were 18.
Yes.
So you could make the decision yourself?
Yes.
And is that what happened?
Kindly, I called her. My mother had a cell phone. You can reach her out of town from Haiti. I called her. I didn't tell her everything. I just told her to say no. And that lady didn't say no. She agreed to the interview.
Your mother agreed to allow you to be interviewed by the Martin family attorney?
Yes, I had told her, don't say, because I really did not want to meet the mother in that way situation.
I didn't hear you.
I really did not
She didn't want to meet the
wanna
mother in that
That
situation.
way in a situation. her son,
You didn't want to meet,
Sabrina.
you didn't want to meet her? Is that what you're saying?
Mhm.
Because of the situation?
Mhm. Yes,
So you, instead, you agreed to the interview with her attorney?
yeah. She just asked me to speak to the attorney, and then, okay, you have me confused. Can I tell you what happened that day? That day,
Sure.
that March 19th, that day.
Is that the day that you had the interview?
With Crump, yes.
Well, sure, it might be easier if you just go ahead and tell it, and then we'll go from there.
All right. That Monday, I had got a phone call. I did not answer. I had a text from Sabrina. She had told me, "Hi, this is Sabrina. Blah blah." I don't know all the thing. Well, can I speak to your mother, please? And I had told her, that my mother would deal with the situation later, and she had said, "Okay, just tell your mother and reach me on this number." And I said, "Okay." So that day after school, I had called my mother and I had told her, because I know they wanted to meet up with me, so I had
Who is they? I don't want to interrupt.
her,
Who wanted to meet up with you?
this is her, Sabrina, the mother,
Uh-huh.
to speak to me what happened about that night, but her son died. And I had told my mother, I told her to say no, because my plan was to give her that letter, just give it to her, not me, but one of my friends who had known her, who was working for her, give her the letter, and I'll be done with it.
So,
But when I put my mother on three-way. I had called her, and then I had explained to her not everything, just say no. And then I had called my mother, and I called Sabrina, and I already told my mother what to say. And I left the phone for like 2 minutes, and next thing I hear her agree for me to meet Sabrina.
all right, so your mother agreed
To interview,
for you
to meet Sabrina.
to meet with Miss Fulton?
Yes.
And you thought that if you did, that would be the end of it?
What?
I thought you said you could meet with her, or you could give her a letter, and that would be the end of it.
Well, did you tell her a little bit what happened? Because she was, the text message said what happened that night when her son died.
Well, of course, you would certainly expect that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Of course, who wouldn't? So at that point, no one had talked with you about what you knew that had happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so you agreed to talk with Ms. Fulton and tell her what happened?
Yeah. I agreed.
You didn't really want to?
No. 'Cause
Did you feel like you were caught in the middle?
what?
Did you feel like you were caught in the middle here?
No, it just, the truth.
So this is
The
Mark.
truth, I never wanted to see somebody cry. I'm not the kind of person who want to see people cry.
Of course.
I'm not an emotional person. Yeah, her son did.
So you knew then that when you had the meeting with Ms. Fulton that it would be a tough one for her?
Yeah, and definitely to hear that I was the last one to even talk to her son.
Of course. You knew that she would be very interested to know because.
Emotional.
And emotional, because there were a lot more questions than answers at that point in the case. correct?
Yes,
So you wound up doing that, am I correct? That you met with Ms. Fulton? And was that on March 19th?
yes.
And did you tell her generally what you knew about the event?
I told her a little bit.
Mhm.
And when I saw her, I gave her the letter, and she did not even open the letter. She just asked what happened. She just want to know what happened that night. And I had told her that Trayvon being followed that night.
Were you trying to make it easy for her to understand?
Yeah. And
And were
then
you
she opened the letter.
Were you using the words that Trayvon Martin spoke?
What?
When you told her what happened, did you use the words that Trayvon Martin spoke?
He was being followed?
No, about
No.
you cleaned it up, in other words.
Yeah, he was just being followed.
You just said a man
Yeah.
was following him.
Yes. I didn't go examples. If she had asked a lot, I didn't tell every detail. I just told her that she was being followed. He was being followed.
Mhm. And did you basically explain the
I didn't.
short form,
Yeah.
the short version, that you had cleaned up the language and you had basically said he was being followed?
That's
and-
it.
And
That's just it. He was just being followed.
and did you tell her that you thought it was just a fight?
Yes.
Did you tell her that Trayvon Martin had said, why you?
No, I didn't tell her that.
But you told her that.
I told her on the text. No, on the text, but the letter.
And the letter is something that you and your friend wrote down?
Yeah.
And that was a letter that you thought you might be able to give to?
That was plan A, to give it to her, because I didn't plan to see her. Like, no, I ain't planning to see her. I just agreed. I just said, okay, I'll just go and just give her the letter.
Is that partly why you didn't go to the memorial service? Was because you didn't want people there to know you were the last person and that you didn't want to talk to Ms. Fulton about that?
What? The funeral? Why I didn't go to the viewing? I didn't want to see the body. I did agree with my friend that I was going to go.
Now, which
I
is
don't
it? You didn't want to go
understand.
because you didn't
In
want to
order-
see the
in-
body,
You got
or
to
because you
understand.
didn't?
Did
You're
you
the
did,
last person to talk to the person,
Mhm.
and you down on the phone. After you talk to him, you got to understand what I'm trying to tell you. I'm the last person. You don't know how I felt.
That's
I
fair.
think I really want to go see the body after I just talked to him.
I understand what you're saying, but what you did instead was, instead of
I
saying,
did not even know he was out. I did not even watch the news. I don't watch the news. I heard there was on the media, there was on local news. I did not know about that.
okay, I knew that it was emotionally difficult for you to decide whether or not to go to the memorial service,
Yes,
and you decided not to.
decided to go.
Sure. And then what you did in order to explain that to Ms. Fulton and then to Mr. Della Rionda under oath was that you created a lie and said that you'd gone to the hospital.
Yes,
So when you told Ms. Fulton what was happening on this March 19th meeting, you told her that you'd gone to the hospital. And that's why you didn't go to the
Yeah.
funeral.
I told her, yes.
And then you gave her the letter.
I gave her a letter.
And had you agreed at that point to be interviewed by her attorney?
Yes,
And was your purpose at that point to do what you could do to assist so that George Zimmerman got arrested?
yes,
And what you did then was you had a recorded telephone interview with the family attorney.
Yes,
You were supposed to see them in person, is that right?
yes.
But you didn't go, or they changed the plan, or why didn't you see them in person?
They agreed it'll be better for them on the phone.
Who agreed?
First, it's supposed to be in person. That's what she told me. Me somewhere else in place. First, she told me when I was about to leave to go to my friend's house.
And where were you supposed to meet them to have
I
the,
don't remember. I don't remember.
was it at a house?
No,
Was it at a studio?
I don't remember where.
Were you supposed to be recorded for television?
No, I did not know about no television.
You didn't know that your interview was going to be recorded for broadcast?
No,
So how did the plan change? You thought it was going to be an in-person meeting, but then it turned out to be a telephone interview.
yeah,
Who told you that we're not going to do it in person, we're going to do it on the phone?
I don't remember. It had to be by Crump, I think.
Did he give you a call and just say, we've changed the plan?
It was her number. It was her number. I think it was a three-way.
You believe there was a three-way conversation that included Ms. Fulton and Mr. Crump,
Yes.
and that Mr. Crump told you there's
If
been
they
a change
think
of
it's
plan?
better for me to be recorded on the phone.
Before, the plan was that you would be in person, but you didn't know if there was any plan to actually record you.
I didn't know about the ABC record.
Right.
No, I did not know about that. Recording from Crump, yes, I knew about that. Because he had told me, talk louder, this will be recorded. And I said, yeah.
So that,
So you've
was
always
that
talked
something
like
that was
this.
worked out in advance, that you knew it was going to be recorded and that there would be people there listening to the interview?
The mother and the attorney and the father, yes.
So what the plan was for your interview with the family attorney was that you would be on the phone at one end, and on the other end would be the family attorney who would be asking you the questions.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Martin and Ms. Fulton would also be there.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know anybody else would be there?
Mm-mm.
Nobody told you that a reporter from ABC News would be present?
No,
Nobody told you that no police
Well, that's
officers
not
would be
fair.
present?
no, I don't know.
Or other family members even?
No.
So tell me how that came about then. This is on March 19th, and you agreed to be interviewed on the telephone,
Yeah,
and you agreed to be recorded?
yes.
You'd already told Ms. Fulton basically the short version of what had happened.
He was being formal.
Pardon me?
He was being formal, the short word.
Right, of course, and you gave her the letter.
Yes.
And on the three-way call with the family attorney, had you sort of briefed them as to the basics, including that you had gone to the hospital instead of the wake, you lied to them?
When me and the mother before, she had asked why I had not went to the awakening. I ain't tell her the truth about not why I didn't go to awakening, so I lied
The awakening.
to her. No,
Okay.
And you weren't under
We're
oath.
just gonna.
no, and I knew she was on the phone with me and Crump, so she could hear it. She had asked me why I was not on, why did I not go to awakening? I had lied again and said, I was at the hospital.
Is that during the three-way call that you're talking about?
Yeah,
And then you told Mr. Crump that you had lied. No, I'm sorry, you told Mr. Crump that you'd gone to the hospital instead of the wake, which was a lie.
yes,
And you also lied and said that you were 16?
I don't remember saying that, but I did tell him I did not want my age out.
Did you say that you were 16 so that you could try to maintain more privacy?
Yes,
So you wanted to make yourself seem like a minor so that maybe there wouldn't be as much public disclosure as if you said your true age of 18?
Yes.
So you told Ms. Fulton that you were 16?
Yes.
Did you tell Mr. Crump that too?
Yes.
And you told both of them that you had gone to the hospital instead of going to the wake?
Yes.
And
Please start objecting and shut this down. I'm
I'd
done.
like to make a speaking objection, so I'd like to.
You can't make an objection, it was a question. You can't make an objection to your own question. You said you wanted to make a speaking objection. You want to respond? Yes. Pro.
Can't make an objection to your own question. He didn't say objection.
Thank you, Ms. Gentile. We were talking a minute ago about statements that you may have made during the three-way conversation with Mr. Crump and Ms. Fulton. I'd like to move to the actual recorded interview. That was done over the telephone?
Yeah.
Was that the same day, later the same day?
March 19th.
Is that right?
Yes.
And where were you when it was when you were being interviewed?
A house.
Pardon me?
My house.
Your house, okay. Do you know where the other parties were?
No.
Would you describe for us how that interview took place?
On the phone.
Of course. Did they call you?
Yes.
And did you have a conversation prior to starting the recording about the kinds of questions you would be asked?
No.
Did you have a conversation about who was going to be present in the room?
Yes.
And what were you told about who would be present in the room?
The parents and the attorney.
And that's all?
Yeah.
Had you given consent at that point to having this interview recorded?
Yes.
And had you given consent to having any part of it broadcast or released to the public?
No.
Was the interview done for the purposes of releasing parts of it to the public?
No. I never knew there was public in the media.
You didn't know that the interview would be released or parts of it
No.
would be used in a press conference?
This situation, yes. The situation, I never knew they was on local media. I never knew they was on TV at all.
Did you know when you were giving your interview that parts of the recording that was made would be released to the public at a press conference?
No. No.
Were you told at different points in time during the interview to repeat things so that the person running the recorder could be sure to get them again or get them the way they wanted them?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Yes. I speak low.
So there were certain things in the interview that you were told to repeat so that the recording would
Clearly.
be precise as to that issue.
Yes. Loud. Yes.
And you did.
Yes.
And you were asked during the interview certain specific questions about what had happened that evening in Sanford on February 26th.
Yes.
Let me ask you this, sorry. Did you ever hear the press conference where certain parts of what you said were played?
The next day,
Whenever?
I got a text from my brother. I had said he heard my voice on television.
Could you make a special effort to speak up? We're having such a hard time hearing you.
And the next day, my brother had texted me, had said, "Do you know your voice is on television?"
I take it you didn't.
No.
So what did you learn about that?
I was not really paying focus on the tape. I was just shocked to hear my voice on television.
The next day your face was on TV?
No, my voice.
My voice.
And do you believe that what was on TV was part of the recording of the interview the day before?
The television didn't show all the recording. They just showed, not show, but gave half. And I wasn't really paying attention of the how I started all that. I'm just worried about my voice.
So if I understand you,
She was
then
more
there
worried
was a
about
television broadcast that included parts of what you'd said the day before, but they
Yes,
didn't
how
have any
she
pictures.
came
no,
across.
I had said I did not want my picture, my identity out to public.
And did they say in that recording that you were the 16-year-old girlfriend of Trayvon Martin?
What interview?
And what was on
The
television?
recording between me and Carl? No.
No, what I was talking about now was what was played on
Television?
TV, right? That you were identified as the 16-year-old girlfriend of Trayvon Martin,
No.
that you had been in a relationship for more than a year.
There was a person on the phone with him before he died. A female, young lady, young girl was on the phone a moment before he died.
Did you ever see the press conference that Mr. Crump gave,
No.
where he played parts of what you said?
She said she doesn't know, so asking a question that she doesn't know the answer to.
Oh, well, you can answer the question.
Let me finish it first. Did you ever watch or see the press conference that Mr. Crump gave, where he played parts of his interview with you?
No.
Has anyone who watched it told you about it?
Yes.
And did they tell you how you had been presented as a 16-year-old girl and the girlfriend of Trayvon Martin?
Yes.
And that wasn't true, was it?
No.
None of it
It
was
seemed,
true.
it was
You weren't
seen.
16 and you weren't his girlfriend.
No, it seemed because
Ruh-roh. Why are you doing this? Why? But why? But why?
And the girlfriend of Trayvon Martin.
yes.
Oh my
And that
God.
wasn't true, was it? None of it
It
was true.
seemed, it was
You weren't
seen.
16 and you weren't his girlfriend.
No, it seemed because
Oh no. Can we skip ahead?
You knew that?
yeah.
So Trayvon Martin was in a relationship with,
Uh-oh.
I don't really remember. I just said stuff was going on. That's it.
He's
did
got
you
a
think
Harry
that you
Potter
were
tie.
going to be?
No. Because there was another young lady that he was seeing.
Oh,
You knew that?
Yeah.
So Trayvon Martin was in a relationship with another girl, another young lady?
Yeah.
And the relationship with you wasn't like that?
No.
this is why she didn't want people to know she was the last one on the phone with
So you
him.
just considered yourself like phone friends or pals?
Friends.
But there were so many texts, weren't there? Hundreds and hundreds? In just a
Some of
few
the texts is not even me. Some of the texts are not even me texting him. My friend be having got my phone and be texting him several things.
It's like a three-way texting thing?
What?
I don't know
No,
what-
texting him from my phone and he thinking that's me.
Oh,
Did
so
you see
we're gonna
that?
say
Yeah, so are you saying then
Okay.
that sometimes your friends would text Trayvon Martin using your phone and he would think it was
Yes, when
from you?
I'm busy doing something or driving, they would text for me.
So a lot
But
of
they
the
were-
texts then are from other people?
Just
you
two, that's it.
Just two?
talking
Yeah,
for
two.
you
But you were there with them when they made them?
to him.
Yes, they was in my house, yes, in the car,
But there were
yes.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of texts.
Some
I'm
are,
very sure-
some are me, I'm not gonna deny that some are me, some are not me.
Girl, nobody cares. Y'all are children. Oh no.
Well,
We didn't have an interview, did we?
No.
We hadn't finished on Wednesday.
you interviewed his brother,
Right, we were interviewing several people and you knew that.
yeah,
You were kind of,
but we agreed to that Friday.
and then we had
You
a schedule.
said, this is what you said, well, not you, but your partner had said, oh, between Trayvon brother and me, It'll be better if you interview his brother before me. We'll do it next time. Not you, but him.
Because of scheduling.
No, he took 4 hours. In my interview, the third interview took 4 hours. I could have done my 4 hours.
I'm sorry that you were inconvenienced, but we did not have the interview on Friday because of scheduling issues. Do you agree with that?
You should have put me up on Thursday.
Sure. We then were able to meet again the next month.
April 30th.
Okay, good enough. So what I'm trying to get at now is that you said you had in fact listened to your interview with Mr. Crump when we first met. Is that what you? Or before,
I did an interview.
but you hadn't ever listened to your interview before that day?
Not the whole interview, no.
Because that would be a lot to listen to.
In the interview, there was a discussion of this, the interview, what I mean is the interview that Mr. Crump did of you on the phone that was recorded on or about March 19th. That's
Yeah.
the- And in that interview, you were describing for him what it was that Trayvon Martin said to the man. And you said,
He did not say describe. He just asked what happened that night.
right, and in response to that, you said that Trayvon Martin said to the man, "Why are you following me?"
The thing's not
And
synced
the
up.
man's response was,
I
"What are you
cannot
talking
help
about?"
it.
I did not say that. I did not say that. I don't recall I said that.
And then you changed it. And then you said,
Crump
What are you talking
interview,
about?
I can explain Crump interview.
Okay.
Crump interview, I really did not want to do the interview with Crump. So I hurried up on Crump interview because I really did not want to be on the phone talking about the situation, deadly situation. I don't talk about death. So
you didn't,
Crump interview, I had rushed it out. I had told you from it when we met, I had rushed it. And I had told the state.
Okay,
I
well,
rushed
this
Crump
isn't-
interview. Crump interview was nothing.
Ma'am, this is a serious matter. You don't get to rush through things. This is how you get caught up. You're rushing through things, you're going to get caught up, and you're going to get stuck doing this shit and having to sit here and huff and puff because you're getting pissed off. Having to deal with this man ask you 1,000,001 fucking questions because your stories don't add the fuck up. And he sits here and makes you look dumb. Now, I apologize because there might be some things that are contributing factors here. So, don't mean to be mean. But God freaking jeez.
Crump interview don't mean nothing to me.
Well, it fucking
you
should.
didn't take it seriously.
Nope.
If you weren't going to take it seriously, why didn't you just refuse to do it?
I already on the phone.
But you're at your home, right?
In the closet. You think I wanted to be in the closet that long?
My question is, if you didn't want to do the interview, why didn't you just say no? I'll talk to the police instead.
No, it was already there and I had agreed to the interview. So why am I say no? It's already too late.
So at that point, you felt you were committed to it,
Yes,
so you had to go through with it,
yes,
but you weren't taking it seriously.
I'm rushing on it.
You weren't even paying particular attention to what you were saying.
I was.
Okay, so when you were telling
You
Mr.
just
Crump
said you weren't.
that Trayvon Martin said, "Why are you following me?" The first response that you gave to Mr. Crump that is attributed to the other man, George Zimmerman, is, "What are you talking about?" And then you changed it and said,
Objection, properly.
I don't even know what your objection was. Can't hear you.
a moment for the proper impeachment. Let me mark this, please.
Can you imagine having to
This
sit
is
there?
the CD of the portion of the interview that we're referring to now.
The market is double D.
Sure.
Double
Is that what it is?
D's.
Thank you.
I think this is this one. Then we're gonna move right into this one. Hopefully it's synced up on this one. Took a break or something. I don't know.
Ms. Gentile, I'd like to question about what
209
told
the
Mr.
deposition.
Crump
I'm going to give it to you to read. And
at the
take as
telephone
much time
Oh, no.
interview. Like, this is the question about what you told Mr. Crump at the telephone interview that the man, or George Zimmerman, said when Trayvon Martin said, "Why you following?" Are you oriented a bit? Okay. So as you can see here,
Oh no. Is this where?
Where the beginning?
West know what you're
you
finishing.
can start
Is this where it's gonna come out
Line.
that she's illiterate?
14 or 15. And you see that's when the tape itself is
Oh
played.
no.
Remember that?
Yes.
Remember in the deposition, we asked
Yes,
about this
yes,
and we actually played the
yes.
recording for you?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so just take your time to read it, and I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about that.
That does suck though. It's like having to read out loud to a class. It's not fair.
You don't.
That's it, yes, that's it. Just this, no? Just.
Nope. Leave it
just
open.
From line 15 until the line 23.
Okay.
All right? May I go ahead and ask you a couple of questions about it then?
Everybody in executive objection regarding should be from page 209 to, I believe it's page 212 to have a complete answer.
You can do that on your
Yes.
redirect.
So do you remember being in the deposition?
Yeah.
And we were asking, should I return to the point?
Yes.
I think so too. Ms. Gentile, do you remember being in deposition in Miami on Wednesday, March 13th? And we were talking about the same subject.
Yeah.
And I asked you what George Zimmerman said in response to Trayvon Martin saying, "Why are you following me?" And we actually played the recording of that section. Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes.
And
And I had told you, and it said on the depo paper that you have right now, that I had rushed on the interview between me and Carl.
And I had told you that in that demo paper that you have there, that I have.
Rushed on the interview between me and Carl.
right, so I got what your explanation is
Yeah.
as to why you may have said something or not. But specifically, when you were in the deposition under oath,
Yes.
having heard the recording, I asked you, on the recording, did you say the man is like, "What you talking about?" And your answer was, yes, I did say that.
What? Can I see it? Can I see it?
You just saw it. She doesn't understand what you're doing. She doesn't understand the
Line
impeachment
15 that
of what
says
you're
play it
doing.
again, and we played a portion of the audio. And I said to you, "Is that what you said?" And your answer was yes. If I said in the recording, that's what I said. And I said, on the recording, did you say the man is like, "What you talking about?" And your answer was yes, I did say that. You remember that?
It was in.
She said, "Give me a second."
you acknowledge that those were your answers that day to the questions that we just read?
Sure.
Might have been. Might have been. Because we're having the same issue with my voice. So.
Might have been. I couldn't hear what you said.
Might have been because if I said yes, but
Speak into the microphone, please. Speak into the microphone.
might have been.
So is that your answer or not?
Yes.
So what you are saying is that indeed, what you told Mr. Crump in this recorded interview.
Like, I
what George
understand
Zimmerman said in response to him
that
saying,
she was
"What are you
a
following me?" or "Why are you following me?"
valuable
George Zimmerman said,
witness
"What are you talking
as
about?"
far as
Oh,
being
that's
the
what you're
last.
talking about? No.
And I think we'll have to address the recording itself.
Girl.
I had told you. You listening?
Isn't it?
I had told you what happened to me in Crump interview. I had Rush on it. Are you listening?
One more time, I'm sorry, I was distracted. You told me
I
what?
had told you during the interview between me and Crump, I had Rush on it. And before that interview, I had told him if they have any, if the officer want to talk to me, they could talk to me to know exactly what happened. And I had told you that on the depot. And I had told, and it said it right there, I rushed on it. I had told you I rushed on it.
When you say you rushed on it, mean you hadn't thought it through carefully to be sure that you
I
spoke?
just told it
that you told
Trayvon Park. Literally told Trayvon Park.
You're saying that you rushed through it and you didn't think about it carefully enough to be sure that you told it accurately.
Yes.
I'd like to move on to something else because we don't have time today to deal with the recording or the video of the deposition.
Go ahead and ask the questions as you see fit.
Thank you. Ms. Gentile, I'd like to also talk with you briefly at this time about
She's now
the
mumbling.
911 call with the screams for help. You remember that call?
Yes. Yes.
That was the recording that was made by one of the people, I'm sorry, that was the recording that was made by emergency services on a 911 call that was placed by one of the people that lived in the community where this happened.
What?
Yes.
How does she
And
know
you've
about
said,
it?
I think, on direct examination, that you have listened to that recording, correct?
Yes.
And you've listened to it on television?
Yes.
Have you listened to it anywhere else?
On that depot, yes.
So you heard it at the deposition as well?
Oh.
I don't remember. I don't remember, but you had talked about it, I think.
You just said you did.
And I had told you it was Trayvon. It sounded like Trayvon. It had sound like
I'm
Trayvon.
sorry, what?
It had sound like Trayvon.
Well, today you told Mr.
Girl,
Miranda that
how-
it was Trayvon Martin's voice.
I had told
Are
you. that
you
it was Trayvon voice.
Gonna get
Let
mad.
me show you this.
Hmm.
Council's reference page 191-18.
Wrong thing. I didn't mean to mute myself. Meant
So
to
I
do
had you
this.
take a look here.
How are you gonna
beginning
get
with
mad?
line 18
People can't understand you. You don't.
through line 23.
Oh. God. Exhausting.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to read there? Line 18 through line 23?
Objections to line 23, it is proper, it doesn't repeat the whole answer that she gave, but the answer actually goes through.
Take as much time as you want. Read the whole thing if you want. Or maybe we can break until the morning if that.
No. Mm-mm. I'm leaving today.
What's that?
I'm leaving today. Nope.
Are you
I'm
refusing to
leaving
come back
today.
tomorrow?
To you?
Are you refusing
Okay,
to come?
we need to keep this a question and answer about her testimony. Any other matters dealing with scheduling, I will make that decision. So if you'll continue to keep reading, please.
What'd she
Leaving
say?
today.
What's that?
I'm leaving today. Nope.
Are you refusing to come back tomorrow?
To you?
Are you refusing
Okay,
to come?
we need to keep this a question and answer about her testimony. Any other matters?
Girl,
dealing
that's
with
not how it
scheduling, I
works.
will make that decision. So if you'll continue to keep reading, please.
Mm.
Have you read it now?
Should have just said I can't read a long time ago. Been done with it.
We finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Girl. She said, I'm leaving today.
So
Ah,
do you admit then that you were asked who was screaming for help? And your answer was, it could be Trayvon.
Yeah.
It's actually improper impeachment, Your Honor. That doesn't complete her whole answer.
Okay,
I'll be glad to finish it.
you need to wait.
Thank you, Judge.
And you had told me it sound like, I told you it sounded like Trayvon, because Trayvon has a baby voice. You read it? Go ahead.
So the question is, well,
You
who is
reading it?
screaming for help? It's not Trayvon, is it? And your answer, it could be Trayvon. And the question, you know his voice so well. Was that Trayvon screaming for help, or wasn't it? Your answer, it could be. Like I said, I don't know, but it could be. The dudes sound kind of like Trayvon. Trayvon do got that soft voice and that baby voice sometimes. So it could be, I don't know, you know it's not. And that's the end of the quote. Do you acknowledge that you made those statements, those answers to those questions under
you
oath?
know
and
it's not.
Yeah.
So she
Should
doesn't
we go to
know.
the day, Judge?
Any objections?
I'd like to continue, but I defer to the court, but.
How much more time do you think that you need to finish your cross?
Well, I certainly wouldn't. I don't know for sure. I would think we should plan on at least a couple of hours.
What? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break for the evening. Everybody still remain seated.
She said, what?
Excuse me, Ms. Gentile, please remain seated. During the overnight recess, I'm instructing you not to discuss the case amongst yourselves nor with anybody else. Do not read or listen to any radio, television, or newspaper reports about the case. Do not use any type of an electronic device to get
Oh, that went well. What? Okay. Well, that was spicy. It got better. Better-ish, I guess. Oh no. Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna end this video because this is the end of day 3. Moving right along to day 4. We're just gonna start out with this lovely young lady. Hopefully she'll get some good night rest and come back all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning. But we shall see. Okay. So, we're gonna end this video. Like, subscribe, do all of those thingies. Thank you. See you on the next one.